You? Yeah, so Vinod was my student. I told you earlier, he joined my class when I took last time, and he was unable to continue it due to some personal reasons, and he just wants to join again. Yeah, Vinod, can you give us a small intro about you?
Yeah, sure, Amrit. Yeah. So I'm not smart, so I'm a old student of computer science. So it has taken over, I have joined last 1 year before from Mumbai. So the given good training was there for the practical as well as good session was there. As well as the from basically backup and recovery and installation part and then application building part and setup level 3.0 everything. So now I got a project to work on. I have joined the opportunity to do sales for MongoDB project. I have started working for MongoDB for more than 1 year. So it's all pleasure to go to Amrit Khan. So thank you, Amrit. Yeah. That's why I'm joining it because I want to update myself for any other updated for the so I have
Yeah. So I think his voice was not that much audible. So what he was trying to say is, as per my understanding, he was actually from Oracle background engineer, and he was an Oracle DBA, and he started to learn MongoDB, and now he got a chance to work with MongoDB it seems. So he just wants to update himself in MongoDB.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Vinod. And Pankaj, can you give us a small intro about you?
Yeah, Amjad. I have more than 12 years experience in as a database admin. So I started my career as a Oracle. So now I'm working like open source database like Postgres and Cassandra, and a part of actually I'm upgrade one more skill in database like MongoDB.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this one Amjad.
So where you are currently working, Pankaj?
I'm currently working as Sarke Consulting Group. Behalf of I'm working on the like LT's clients.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
And yeah, thank you so much, Pankaj. Venu.
Hi, Amjad. So, my name is Venu. I'm having 8+ years of experience in database administration. So, I'm working on Oracle, SQL, and Postgres databases. So, I'm currently working for all these projects.
Okay, you're currently working for Infosys.
Yes, yes, right.
Okay, that's great. And Ragul. Okay, Yasdev.
Yes, sir. Hi,
Okay,
sir. I'm a student of BBA BCA and currently studying AWS clouding. And I want to update myself as a database. So I am here to study MongoDB.
mhm, that's great. What about Ragul? He has some audio issue. It seems I'm not sure either. He's able to hear us.
Hi, sir. Hi, sir. It's Rahul here.
Hey, Ragul.
So recently, I have completed graduation from BCA. I'm totally fresher. Means, so I decided to start my career as a database.
Oh, that's great, Ragul. That's great. Okay, so I'll tell you guys about myself. So as you know, my name is Amzad, and I have around 13 plus years of experience in IT environment. Well, I started my career with Oracle, and it was a product-based company. So I worked simultaneously with Oracle, MySQL, PostgreSQL, and Cassandra on MongoDB in the year of 2010. And later I got a chance to work with Cognizant, Accenture, and UST and IBM. So I worked for so many organizations. So yeah, I am dealing with NoSQL technologies, which is MongoDB and DocumentDB, and now Aurora MySQL, Aurora PostgreSQL, and DynamoDB. Um, yeah, this is a small background about me, and I worked MongoDB since 2012. from the version of 2.4, I guess, if I remembrance is correct. Yeah, since not version 2.6, 2.4, I'm working. And guys, so really, you guys know took a great decision to learn MongoDB, and especially the freshers and the experienced guys, because knowing a NoSQL technology is really important and really needful in the market, because in the market there is no actual real-time working employees are not available. They do some kind of reading in the online, and they apply for the post, and by the time of interview we come to know either they have the actual experience, or they just gone through the documents. But this course, guys, you will get a lot of benefits, and if you practice it simultaneously, by the time I am teaching you, you'll be able to handle the kind of L2 and L2 level support you'll be able to give, and you'll be able to support the production issues and the production environment without any hesitation. So that's what. And the openings, right? Openings for MongoDB is huge in the market, as you know. And next 10 years, the MongoDB will dominate the industry and lead the industry, because a lot of companies are now moving towards to MongoDB. And MongoDB, I can say, it is very easiest technology to learn. Comparing to Oracle, I can say Oracle is the toughest database in the database world, and MongoDB is very easiest database in the database world. So we can learn MongoDB very easily. So minimum knowledge of the computer is enough, and we no need to be skilled. And being a freshers, guys, it is a really great decision you have taken, that you learn MongoDB, because right, in the industry the competition is very huge. If you go for and apply for an interview, and if you go for an interview, there are a lot and lot of graduates will come, and who is really good in communication or good in academic scores and everything. But uh, uh, instead of being nothing there, if you learn a leading technology in the market, the interviewer will really and definitely will prefer you guys. So it is a great decision you have taken to learn MongoDB. Welcome guys to the MongoDB, DBMS world. So let's get started. Mm, I already taken introduction class in the demo, but I would like to start again it, because a new persons also joined. So let me share my screen. I'll give you some PPT presentation. Okay. Let me know, guys, once you are able to see my screen. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, Amjad.
Okay.
Yes, Amjad.
So for the freshers like Rahul, who is this Redmi 9A?
Rahul and Yash are fresher. Yash is also fresh.
Who has joined this Redmi 9A?
Yes, yes. Yes,
This
the way. Yes, the way.
Yes, Deve. Okay. You joined in two devices?
No, sir.
No, I could see one more person joined with Redmi phone. I just want to know who is that.
Sir, I just joined. This is first class.
Who is that?
My name is Vicky. So today's
Uh,
demo class, right?
No, no, it's not a demo class. A demo we already completed, Vicky. So this
Oh,
class
I
is
thought that's a demo.
no, no, it's not a demo.
Okay, I will
This
exit. No problem.
no problem. If you want, you can be here for one day,
Okay, okay.
okay, and you can
I,
yourself
I
watch it.
just want to know that the how the things and all that, right?
And what about yourself? Like where you are working? You are working somewhere, or you are a fresher?
Actually, I have a 10-year experience in database.
Mm-hmm.
I am working from the RDBMS side,
Okay.
and I have some little bit knowledge on the MongoDB, but
Mm-hmm.
I am facing some issue with the this thing, right? We are using the aggregate and all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
That we have match group and all that are there, right? There and some facing the issue regarding this, right? Some tool is there, right? Sysop or something, right? There we monitoring the.
Okay, that is purely for the developers, the aggregation
Yes.
queries and aggregation pipelines and involving with the
Yeah,
queries,
yeah.
everything for the developers, MongoDB developers, not for the MongoDB DBS. The MongoDB core DBS, not only the MongoDB in any other technologies like the core DBS will not much involved with the codings and the queries and the joins or aggregations,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
it may. Okay, so however, you just joined here, that's okay, and yeah, just take
So
this as a demo
this course
class.
is covering the DBA or developer track.
No, no, it's a develop DBA, completely pure core DBA. Okay.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
join for today. If it is useful, you can
Sure,
pay
sure.
tomorrow and you
Sure.
can continue. If not, you can take
Sure,
your own
sure.
decision. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. No problem. Okay, guys. So let me start with the overview of NoSQL. Okay. So what is NoSQL? The NoSQL was introduced by a person named Carl Strozzi in 1998 to name his file-based database. Okay. So to start the database, whatever it may, we need to know about the history or how it was named and how it was developed. So it was name of the hashtag has NoSQL for a meetup to discuss open source distributed databases. This is a purely theoretical part, so don't um, worry about it. So NoSQL, the terminology denotes as people thinks, okay, there will not be there will not be any SQL language behind that. Yeah, and the actual name conversation is started not only SQL means all the industrial needs, right? The business needs that depends on the SQL language, and the term NoSQL define them and it tell them you don't need to depend only for the SQL languages for your industrial needs and your industrial problems. So that is how it named not only SQL. You don't need to depend only on the SQL language. Okay. So NoSQL, the features, right? It's a non-relational data model and it has distributed clusters. NoSQL mostly available as the open source and it is a schema-less and it is available in a variety of formats like columnar database and document database and the key value database and the graph based database. So we'll see all of them in details. What is columnar, what is document, and what is key value, and what is non-relation data model, and what is the distributed clusters. Everything we'll see what it is. Okay. And what's the need of NoSQL, guys? The explosion of the social media sites. uh, just imagine the Facebook, how many data we are uploading and we are downloading, how many text based data and the video based data and the document based data and the image based data, whatever the form of the data. Just imagine the Facebook, each and every seconds of the time, around the world, the people used to upload or download or write something in the Facebook or the Twitter, whatever the social media sites, right? So just imagine about the data size. So it will be very huge amount of data is transferring over the minute, right? So the data size, the large data needs the need of continuous the large size data needs a technology database to handle it, right? So of course we have RDBMSs like Oracle or MySQL or PostgreSQL or the SQL, whatever it may the RDBMS. So it is also handling the large amount of data, but it has a lot of challenges to deal with the large amount of data, right? So I'll explain you what are the challenges in the later. Like if we have large amount of data in the RDBMSs like Oracle or MySQL, whatever. So I'll tell you what are the challenges we have. And the industry needs the continuous availability of the data, right? A continuous availability. So for example, the Facebook, if the Facebook server is down, this Facebook database is down, what will happen? So consider we are using only one server to store all the data for the Facebook, whatever the users uploading or downloading, whatever the users are texting, posting, whatever they do in the social sites, say for example, Facebook. And if the database is down where the data, where their actual data is stored to download or to upload, that database is down, what will happen? So the entire world will stuck, right? So no one can upload or download or write or sign or do nothing in the social sites, right? So we need uninterruptible database our services have to be available, correct? So we need a continuous availability, but the RDBMSs fail to give the continuous availability in many cases. And need of the more flexible data model. I'll tell you what is the flexible data model. Okay, the flexible data model is nothing but so we can modeling the data in the flexible way, so we don't need to depends on the rows and columns. I'll tell you what it is exactly. And rise of the cloud based solutions. So nowadays, right, industries were moving towards the cloud. Earlier it was a rental server. When I started my career in my organization, we used the rental servers, means we had a separate data centers. Like if it is the local, we have a SIFI data center, and we have VSNL data center. And if it is on the on-site, we have kind of Richmond data center, or whatever the name. Okay, so the data center, what the people do is they have their own servers, right? And they just give it for the rental purpose. So say for example, if we need to run our applications, we go for the rental purpose, and we go for the rent, and we rent the server, we hire the servers. And in that servers, we run our softwares, like whatever the application, Java, Apache, Tomcat, WebLogic, whatever the applications we want to run. We just deploy our applications in that rental servers, as well as the database as well. We run it in the rental server, and the rent cost will be very much. Later on, the company decides to have their own servers, so based on their company's budget and no financial situations, whatever. So they have their own servers, and they deploy their softwares or databases, whatever, in their own servers. So later on, the server cost, again, the server cost is really huge, and the company decided to move towards the virtual machines, VMware. So the VMware came to place, and they have a set of a bunch of boxes called data stores. And in that data stores, they separated the storage, and they have a bulk a box. And in that Linux box, they installed separate virtual machines into that. So the virtual machines came into the picture, and the companies were using, and the companies are using the virtual machines. The virtual machines reduce the cost of the servers. Okay, so instead of having so OS in a server, they splitted the server. Inside that server, they just installed the virtual machines. Okay, so by doing this, they reduce the costs again. After some time, the technology grows, and then the dockers and the containers came into the place. Now everything available is the package. The dockers contains the people in the kind of industry will have the dockers, and then they have the containers into the dockers. So they reduce the cost again in dockers and containers methodologies. And after that, the technology grown, and the industries are moving towards the cloud-based solutions like AWS and Azure, and what else? OpenShift, and their own private cloud. Of course, IBM has their own private cloud, and Citibank has their own private cloud. And yeah, now the Google has started their cloud. So the companies are moving towards the cloud-based solutions because they don't need to maintain the server, the first thing, and they don't need to worry about the storage, the second thing. So they don't need any separate engineer to maintain it, and they don't need to worry about the storages, the disk, whatever. So everything will be taken care by the cloud. So the companies are moving towards the cloud based solutions. So the NoSQL technologies are very much easier to handle with the cloud based solutions. Okay, the NoSQL databases are pragmatic response of growing scale databases with falling prices of commodity hardwares. I'll tell you what is the commodity hardwares. Okay, so it will assist us, it will facilitate us to reduce the cost of our hardware things like CPUs or the memories or the physical disks, whatever. So the NoSQL technologies will give the falling prices in the commodity hardware. Okay, so I'll give you some differences between RDBMS and NoSQL. So for the freshers, whoever joined here, the engineering college students or the college graduates, uh, so first you understand what is the database. So the database is nothing but, I'm sorry, to store the data. Okay, so if you have a bunch of data, what you do, so if you have say for example you completed your engineering and you have kind of your engineering college students, say for example you have 50 students, and you have to store it in somewhere, right? So what you do, basically you store it in the excel sheet, correct? The rows and the term in the form of rows and excels. And if you are from the triple E department, you store those details in the excel sheet. And if you are from some other department, CSC or whatever, you just upload the same to the sheet, right? So the sheet rows and columns will obviously increase for your college. So for example, if you are having the data of the entire colleges, universities, so what will be the data growth? Will you be able to store them in the Excel sheet? No, right? The Excel sheet has some limitations. So we need some software or some packages, some devices to store it, correct? So for that storing purpose, we need a database. The database is nothing but it will store the data of the industrial needs or the business needs or the whatever. Okay, so we need a storage device. We need a kind of the storage format, and not only for the storage. If you want to retrieve any data, say for example, if you want to retrieve a CSC student from that table, table is nothing but from the Excel sheet. You want to retrieve a particular student, so what you do, you just do control F and it find, right? If the count is 10 or 100 or 1000, you can easily find it out. If the count is 1 lakh or 1 crore or 1 million, billion, trillion, the counts is increased and your response time is decreased, right? So the Excel sheet or the no the some databases are not enough to handle these kind of situations. So we need a database to handle all these things. So this is what very basic idea about, very basic intro about the database. So in the database we call this RDBMS. Of course you would have a subject called the relational DB, database management system, something. So the RDBMS is called relational databases. So it support powerful SQL language. So to retrieve the data from the database, right, you just imagine the Excel sheet, rows and columns. Okay, so in that, if you want to retrieve a particular student among the billion, 100 billion, 100 trillion records, you may need to write a powerful SQL language. If you want to join something, if you want to compare something, you may need to skill in the SQL language. You know what is SQL, right? Structure query language. So you have to write a query language like select employee from the so and so table, and the employee name should not be like this, should not be more than that. And I mean employee age should not, I mean student age should not be more than like that, and the student department should be CSC, and the student should be in third year, kind of conditions, whatever the conditions you need to. And guys, if the call is disconnected, I'll give you the another link, okay? Because I have only the free account in the Zoom meeting, so the call will disconnect in 40 minutes. If it is disconnected, I'll give you, I think we can join the same link again. Just try to join, or else I'll give you a small no. again a new link. So powerful SQL language we need. Okay. And in RDBMS, the data stored in a relational model with rows and columns. Just imagine the Excel sheet. So it will store in the rows and columns, and it has a fixed schema. Let me open the Excel sheet. So basically, the RDBMS store the data like this: name and age and department, whatever. So these and all rows and columns: Ravi, Raj, Ragul, whatever, and the age and department. Okay. So it will store the data like this. Okay, rows and columns. The RDBMS will store the data. And RDBMS has the fixed schema. So what is the fixed? This is a schema, right? The schema, the particular schema, the schema, say for example, this schema name is student. Okay, student. Okay, it has a fixed schema. It means the student schema may have a table with a limited number of rows and columns. So it has 3 rows and 3 columns. Okay, it has fixed amount of schema. And if you want to insert something, like if you want to insert a record of student address, you cannot insert it until and unless you have a column named address. Okay, so you need to add the column named address, and after that only you will be able to insert the data, whatever. And it follows the ACID property. So ACID property is atomicity, consistency, and isolation and durability. So I'll tell you what it is later. And the transaction, it support transactions means so the database we basically called the data, right? We basically called two kind of data: OLTP and OLAP. So online transactional process and online analytical process. Okay, the transactional process mostly deals with the banking transactions. Say for example, if you're going an ATM and if you are inserting swiping your card, and if you are getting the amount, and the balance will reflect over the way on over their mobile, the balance, the bank balance, they will send an SMS. So everything is kind of transactional, right? So the banking transactions, you are depositing some amount in the bank and you will get an SMS. The transactions. The analytical yields, analytical processes will have a data, bunch of data. Okay, so we can store the data somewhere in the data warehouse, and after that we can analyze the data. How many transactions this customer has done, how many transactions, and this particular student, how many marks he has scored, kind of the analytical. Okay, and in which subject he scored a lot over the 4 years, or no this customer booked a flight ticket, and how frequent he booked the flight tickets, kind of analyticals, right? So they analyze the data. So this is called analytical process. The OLTPs, right, the online transactional process, as of now the RDBMS is the one which give no which give kind of good support, or good transactions, I mean good support for the transactional processes. So it's dealing a lot. And the vertical scaling. Okay, I'll tell you what is vertical scaling and what is horizontal scaling. RDBMS supports the vertical scaling, and NoSQL supports the horizontal scaling. And I told you RDBMS needs the powerful SQL language, but for the NoSQL, it supports very simple query language. Okay, and the RDBMS has the fixed schema. But the NoSQL doesn't have the fixed schema. It has the flexible schema. I'll tell you what is flexible schema. And but the consistency, right? It has only eventual consistency, and it does not support transaction, and it supports horizontal scaling. Okay. What is flexible schema? Okay. I have a table called electronics. Okay. Under which I have a record of, okay, I'm going to sell the mobile phone. Okay, the mobile model, correct, the brand, correct, and the price, correct, and what else, the RAM size, correct, and the, okay, the RAM size, that's enough now. Okay, mobile model, we are running the application here. Some consider an application is here. Okay, application will write the data into the database, guys. So wherever the design, I mean, whatever the application is the front end tool. Okay, the customer will be given an application. Say for example, the HDFC net banking. Just for an example, okay, like HDFC net banking or whatever the application, just imagine. So if you are doing some transaction, the application is the HDFC net banking page. Okay, so the application should be like this. The customers will be given an application. So if the customer is HDFC bank, they will be given an application like that. They'll be able to load the data or whatever the application needs. They perform it. Okay, so I'm just giving you this example. So if you have a no kind of HDFC applications, and if you are a customer, HDFC customer, and if you are inserting some data, you will not go and write your language. Okay, insert into a mobile, something like that. You will not write an model like that. So you simply click this button. After that, if you add something, you just click add. So it will compose all your input data. It will, if you feeding the data, it will get the data from your application, and then it will form a query in the background, insert into so and so table, and the input, the values are given by you, whatever you have given in the console. It will get the input and it will form a query, and then it will write the insert operations into the database. Okay, so in the RDBMS, if you have a kind of rows and columns, right? In the NoSQL, if you have a schema like electronics, and inside that, if you are writing the mobile model like Nokia, and mobile model is brand is Nokia, and mobile model is 1123 or whatever. Okay, Nokia, and the price is 60,000 or something, and the RAM is 6 GB RAM. Okay, you are selling the mobile phone, and after that you are selling another mobile phone, the model 673, and Oppo, and the price is 7,000, and the RAM is 4 GB RAM, whatever. So if you are selling like this, and later on you decided to sell a laptop. Okay, you decided to sell a laptop. So in that laptop, someone messaged me. Okay, sorry. You are selling a laptop. Okay, so the laptop has some more columns, some more fields like processor. Okay, processor or hard disk. We may need to add two more columns, right? So if the application, so just example, imagine the application is doing this. Okay, you are not directly doing the insert and all. So if the application composing the things, and if it is inserting two extra fields like the processor and the hard disk, two extra fields into this particular table. Okay, so it is a RDBMS table, and it is inserting